Ariana Grande is officially back with Yes And, the lead single off her 7th record, Eternal Sunshine. Yes And is a house-flavored rebuttal to endless rumors about Ari's life, ranging from her divorce, subsequent relationship with a co-star, and public split from her longtime manager and public enemy number 1, Scooter Braun. In this brief video, we'll go over how we got here, the song itself, its stunning music video, and why Ari picking this single might mean a lot towards this era. To properly talk about Yes And, we need to talk about how we got here. Grande's last era was Positions, which I thought was a charming R&B record that spawned 3 successful singles, but was not the cultural superpower that was Thank You Next, or the critically acclaimed artistic self-discovery that was Sweetener. Positions was released during the pandemic, so it never got the honor of having its own tour or a solid rollout. Instead, Ari ended up pivoting towards making her own makeup brand REM Beauty, which launched in 2021 and has even won some awards, but the big story was her casting as Golinda in the upcoming Wicked movie. This news actually scared Arianators the same way that Little Monsters had been scared when Gaga began to pivot towards film and away from music. After all, movies are multi-year commitments that make touring and promoting a record very hard. Grande did manage to release a Die For You remix last year, which scored her and Abel their 7th number ones. A pivot into film has always made sense for Grande, as she had been famous for playing Cat Valentine on Victorious, but she also appeared in Don't Look Up, providing a song for the Netflix film with Kid Cudi. Being a lead actress is a whole other ballgame though. While filming Wicked, Grande began a publicly scrutinized relationship with her co-star Ethan Slater, who some chided as SpongeBob for his role in the Broadway show. We really can't talk about Yes And without a quick dirty rundown. So apparently even before Grande split with Dalton Gomez, which went public in July, even though it's said that they split in January, Grande and Slater had gone on double dates with their partners, calling into question the timeline of this relationship. By March of last year, they were all over each other at Michelle Yeoh's Oscar party. Days after Grande's divorce went public, People and Us Weekly confirmed that Grande and Slater were dating. Page 6 said that Slater's wife Lily J was blindsided. Later in the month, Slater did file for divorce. Grande would cool things off, giving them space, and a brutal Daily Mail article came out calling them sloppy. However, a report refuting these claims came out in September on People, claiming that they did not get together until each party had split with their partner, and since then they have been seeing each other, with Ariana showing up at Spamalot and them spending the holidays together. And that's what you missed on Glee. There's a lot of discourse and details that I missed, including a child and home-wrecking allegations that I'm not going to get into. All while this was happening, Grande was actually quietly working on her record, teasing Max Martin's return in October in an Instagram dump, as well as studio time in December, before confirming that this record was happening. It really wasn't until she was photographed wearing a sweatshirt with the title Yes And that everything felt real, before pre-save links came out and the song dropped on January 12th. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the song itself. Yes And is a very daring 3.5-minute house dance pop track. It opens with a thumping instrumental that runs 47 seconds into the song before she starts singing. I am assuming that this is probably the opener to the record itself, the song structured tightly, moving from short, snippy verses into a divine pre-chorus that I argue is the highlight of the song, and a catchy, quotable chorus. Max Martin and Ilya have been longtime collaborators, and they really brought their A-game here with a really fresh production, but you can also tell that Grande herself was involved in the construction of the song inside and out. I'd go out of my way to say that this is her second best lead single, artistically behind No Tears Left to Cry, which I thought was pretty iconic and was my favorite, and likely commercially behind the killer Thank You Next, which I feel is a sister song to this track. The bridge is constructed in a way that demands discussion. It's a direct address to critics. It almost has a manifestation spell sense to the first half. What's mine is mine really feels pointed. The next section about her face sitting speaks to her Vogue interview, which was actually pretty brutal, and she admitted that she had quit doing fillers and Botox in 2018. Don't comment on my body, do not reply is very much about these recent comments about her looks, particularly for the weight loss that fans have noticed during Wicked. And the final line, why do you care whose dick I ride, directly correlates to all of the Slater drama. I feel like she did address all of these points pretty correctly. It's none of our business to really care about this stuff, even though she is in the court of public opinion. The final chorus gives classic Ari ad-libs and a re-energized finale that's cathartic and well-spoken. I found it a very charming homage to Madonna's iconic Vogue, though there are slivers and hints of Beyonce's Break My Soul in there. I feel like both of those songs actually tread similar narratives, though Ari goes very personal on this track. I've noticed amongst my personal friends that it is a grower for some, but an immediate smash for me. I can really see the song being a big hit at clubs. Though, time will tell if this actually hits commercially. Some have noted that the visuals really evoked Paula Abdul, which I can see, but honestly I was thinking of Janet Jackson as well. The staging of it feels like a direct homage to Grande's theater roots. It feels like a black box performance. Seeing pop girls go into house in the 2020s has always been one of my favorite trends. Gaga really spearheaded it with Chromatica, which is really ironic because Grande did feature on Rain on Me, which is one of my favorite tracks from that era. You can even feel like the song is kind of a sequel to that in some senses. I feel like Beyonce truly cemented house's revival with her acclaimed and stunning renaissance, which of course, draws comparisons. Most recently, Dua Lipa herself has recently flirted with the sound with Houdini, which hasn't quite caught on as quick. But Ari going for it speaks to the essence of what pop is going to be about this decade, and I think that's freedom through dance. I feel like the meta is going to shift away from wordy lyrics and more confessional songwriting towards more free and liberated kind of vibes. Before I go, I will talk about some brief theories that I have on this era. This is just me spitballing, but the most fascinating thing about Eternal Sunshine is its title. It's a homage to a classic Jim Carrey film, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's hard to explain the plot to this movie, but a general gist about it is that it's about a couple that erases their memories of each other to better cope with the end of their relationship. I'm not going to give that many spoilers about the film in case you want to see it, but I do think that the record will evoke themes that are seen in this movie. I think that it could speak to her trying to erase herself artistically as a pop star, but coming back to who she is through a different lens and angle. This film was very sci-fi too, so visually we might see some direct homages to that film. And I know this sounds conspiratorial, but Eternal Sunshine's initials spell ES, which could also mean Ethan Slater, and we know a certain track on Sweetener name drops one of her loves. I will say that an insider has noted that this record is going to be a continuation of Ari's R&B sound, which I felt Positions really helped cement. I also predict that there is a subconscious hunger for critical acclaim. The audience of the music video and Yes and were critics, so I do think that this is going to be a reinvention akin to how Sweetener was for her, and it could go on to win a Grammy like that record did. Regardless of all of these mini theories and everything, I do think that this was an effective lead single that's competitive compared to the other releases that dropped this week. One release really had disappointed me. I'll let you guess which one that one was. I think that Yes and is an exciting peek into the next record, and really a surprisingly artistic track for Ari. When I'd heard that she'd brought back Martin and Ilya, I thought that this was going to be a direct sequel or rehash of Thank You Next, but instead, this really feels like a new chapter in sound for her. I give it really high marks, and I'm excited for the next era. And that's a wrap. Oh my god, wow, I've never done a single review before, but I just wanted to do one really quickly because the song had captured my attention, and I really do feel like Ariana Grande is on the verge of creating her next great record. Comment what you thought about Yes and below. A quick shout out to my members and my subscribers. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to make as much content as I can this year for you guys, and I can't wait to see you next video.